this computer? Here we are. So today we'll be looking at the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 12, and whatever verses we reach there. Linguistically quite simple, I think. So we will probably get through more than just 12. I'll start, excuse me one moment, this is a possibly urgent message. Okay, sorry.
James, could I just say that I might be interrupted. My wife and I have just got stuck in the lift in our apartment, and we managed to get out, but an engineer is on his way. So if I've got to leave temporarily, then that's the reason why.
I will certainly concede that the importance of the interruption does rather exceed proficiency in Sanskrit. So you got stuck. Your lift
Yeah,
got stuck.
yeah. The lift got stuck; it just wouldn't move, and the door wouldn't open. And my wife's in a wheelchair, and we were.
Oh,
It's quite scary for a while, and so I just sort of forced the door, and we got out and rang the appropriate people. Then the engineer is on their way, but we have managed to get out, and but it's quite exciting, really.
not quite the kind of excitement that
No.
you need. I remember when I was a rather younger man, the same happened to me in a lift in Rome, and I felt like Samson, wresting the door open. Fortunately, it was a rather rickety old lift, so I was able to wrest the door open.
Well, I've seen people do the films, you see, so I think I'll give it a try, and it did in fact
And it
work.
works. You see,
It worked, yes.
this kind of sudden influx of strength you didn't know you had at the
Oh,
moment
absolutely.
that you need it.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Anyway, thank you.
So I will just read now before I call it up on the screen. Um, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 12. Did you get all the documents, Gurcharan, that I sent? Have you got all the material available? Excellent.
I have, yes.
Okay,
Thank you
right.
very much.
All
Thank you.
right. न त्वेवाहञ्जातु नासन् न त्वन्नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे vayamattah param. I'll just call it up for you to the, oops. Okay, I'm just going to share screen now. Oh, what have you got? Can you still hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Yes, we can hear you.
And can you see a kind of blank screen?
No, it's a purple thing with a white circle and a red line across it.
That's kind of what I meant by is blank, wasn't it? I think what I've accidentally done is I've accidentally turned off my whatever it's called camera thing. I'm just going to turn it back on again. Sorry, one moment. It'll. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
James,
Yes.
I'm hearing some other conversation or something. Is somebody not muted?
No, I'm
No.
I'm
On my
sitting.
side, I don't hear any conversation here at my side.
That's funny, and no, I'm sitting in a. All is silent. All is silent in my house. How strange. Is this? Are you still hearing it, Anne? Oh, you're muted, Anne. And we cannot hear you, and we do not know whether the problem persists. You're still muted, Anne. Unmute.
I'm good now, James. Thank you.
Okay, glad to hear
Oh,
it.
good. Sorry.
Okay, don't worry. Okay, I'm just going to share screen now. Good screen sharing. Okay, is it properly shared now? Bhagavad Gita? Very good.
Yes,
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Enlarge it. So I'll read it again. Natveva hanjatu nasan natvanne me janadhipaha nachaiva nabhavishyamah sarve vayamattah parang. One thing I want to correct, and I'm going to do it right now, just leave it there. Ever. Sorry. Originally I had verily. I had misunderstood the meaning of the word jatu here, and in fact I had transposed it from my understanding of where the same word appears in a very common and popular Pali text, which is the Karaniya Sutta, which finishes Nahi Jatu Gabbaseyam Punaretiti in Pali. And I'd seen it glossed somewhere as just an emphatic particle, this jatu. And then I just double checked that and looked it up in Moni Williams. It's not just any old ordinary emphatic. I'm just calling it Moni Williams here. So it is jatu, meaning no, not at all or ever. So it's not just any ordinary emphatic. It means at all or ever, or in a negative sentence, never. So I've just corrected that error in front of you on my manuscript there. So, not to ever. The to is normally concessive, or rather links to what went before. There's for or because. Not to ever. You could translate for not. For I never was not to ever jahu nasam. The words themselves are simple enough, but the structure is a little complex. So asam means I was. Na asam, which by Santhi, of course, becomes nasam, I was not. This is a double negative, nasam. You don't often have double negatives in Sanskrit. You occasionally do. It's it means here there never was I never was not, or there never was a time when I was not, or when I did not exist. So natweva, not indeed, aham, asam, I was, for it is not the case that I was not, jatu, ever. So never was it the case that I did not exist. He's making the point here that although we have our transient bodies, the Atman did never not exist. There was never a time when it did not exist. So natuevaham jatu nasam. So the natueva, just take that as a very emphatic negative. It is not the case, natueva, it is not the case that aham jatu nasam, that I did not exist at any time. Natwam, not you, singular of course. In other words, natwam means, and the same applies to twam, the same applies to you. Neme janati paha. Neme is by Santifa, na ime, not these. Janatipa is lords of men, rulers of people. So saying it is not the case, natweva, that I, aham, jatu, at any time, na asam, was not. Natuam, nor you, and the same applies to you. Na ime janadipaha, nor these rulers of people. Na chaiva na bhavishyamaha. Yes, welcome, Marco. Na chaiva, and not indeed. Na cha eva is and not indeed, not even. Na cha eva and na chaiva means, and it is not the case that na bhavishyamaha, we will not be. So bhavati, singular, bhavishyati, it will be, bhavishyamaha, just the first person plural, we. Bhavishyamaha, we will be. Na bhavishyamaha, we will not be. So na chevana, and not, it is not the case that we will not be. So again, by the double negative, emphasizes the positive. Na chevana bhavishyamaha, nor is it the case that we will not be. Sarve vayam. Sarve vayam, all us. We say in English, we say all of us. In Sanskrit, you just say all us. Attaha param. Attaha means, means hence. It can have a meaning in space or a meaning in time. So, and the ta ending, this ta ending, is the old Vedic ablative form. So from here, just as you have, for example, the word tataha, tataha, thence, it can mean from that place or as from that time. Attaha means hence, meaning from this place or from this time. Para, meaning beyond or afterwards. Cognate with our English word far, actually. So para is param, just in this context, means beyond, further, meaning now after this. So atah param, hence, further, means at any time in the future from now. This asam, by the way, let me just call up the sorry, why it's got tangled. Oops. I'm having a bit of a problem with my pen. Okay. As, our common root meaning to be. and this is the imperfect form of it, where you have it's formed regularly. It's a class 2 verb. Just put an for the first person singular imperfect. And you have the augment in front of it. This is one of the signs of the past. So as becomes asam, which is actually regularly formed. It just means was. So I'll just read it through once more, and then we'll deal with any comments or queries that you may have. Natweva hanja nasan natwanneme janatipa nachaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayamattah param. So is there any problem? Do any of you have problems with understanding what it said? When I was first struggling with this, what's being said here, then I realized that the easiest way for rendering it into English is you can hear the first with a na and a na. It is not the case that, and nacheva, it is not the case that we will not be. Just this double negative. When you were away from us for a moment, Gurcharan, I was just explaining the asam from the asam. That's regular. This I'll mention the third person of it. You would have expected just adding a t to it, but in fact it adds an he was or there was. It irregularly adds a long e. Yes, welcome, Paula. It irregularly afternoon. It irregularly adds the long e, asit, and I particularly mention this because the text that I was studying back in 1966, and that Guru Charan mentioned to me that she was studying the Nalopakyanam, the story of Nala, begins with that very word, asit, asid raja nalo nama virasena sutobali. So that's just the imperfect of the root as. So do we have any
James, could you explain that word bhavishyama?
Bhavishyama? I can indeed, yes. It's a regular a regular future. In fact, a paradigm for the first one paradigm. So the word bhavati from the root bhu, it is.
Yeah, I've got that.
It, he, she, or it will be. Okay. Up to the bhav bit, so far so good. For the future tense, or you could also break down the word like this. It's bhavishyati, it's the inserted ishya. Just stick that on and it converts the word into into a plural.
All right.
Sorry, into a future.
Future. Yeah, future.
Um,
And then it's the future first person.
yeah, and so bhavishyati will be, and bhavishyama, we are is bhavamaha,
Yeah.
and so we will be bhavishyamaha.
Yeah, I've got it now. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
This inserted e, by the way, it's there in some verbs, not there in others. But you always find whether this inserted e is there. It's a bit slippery, that inserted e. After all this time, I still haven't totally mastered the rules for when it comes in, when it doesn't. Sometimes it appears not even to have a rule at all. Just sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But there are numerous verbs where the that inserted e does not appear. The best way of remembering it is where you have this inserted sia or sh after the root of a verb, with or without the inserted e. Then that is the sign of the future.
Yeah, thank you, James.
Right, there we are. The word adhipa, by the way, it means master, ruler, or lord. The overlord might be another way of describing it. Adhi has the meaning. It often overlaps with abhi. I mean, the abhi and adhi, they're separate prefixes, but there's a certain overlap between them. Some words you can find indiscriminately with one or the other. Adhi means either up to or on, and probably cognate with the Latin ad, which just towards. So it very often means over, as here it does. We've got the root pa. You know the meaning of the root pa?
Like nirpa.
Sorry?
Like nirpa, Lord of the Man.
That's right, yes. Yeah.
Tries to protect, isn't it?
Exactly so. It has the idea of rulership, dominion, and protection as well, both rolled into one. So the most primitive and archetypal way in which the word appears is with the R changing to an E in pitta, which of course we have in Latin as pater, which is father, and pater, pitta, and the English word father. So this fa of father and the pa of protecting, it's all from that same root, because the pater was he was the person in charge and he was the protector. So father, protector, person in charge, the Lord, all that meaning was all rolled into one. And by further extension of that word, we have in Latin pastor, which we have in English as a pastor, which originally meant the protector of the animals, the pastor of the sheep, and then by extension the pastor of a church. So this pa, protection, father, pastor, they're all ultimately from that same primitive Indo-European root.
Padrone, patron, as well.
Il padrone, the godfather of the mafia. What? So il padrone is the big boss. In Sicily and various suburbs of Chicago, I think, as well. So were there any more queries or comments arising out of that? Then we'll
I
have
have a question on param. So there is that expression or way of saying in Hindu parampara, you know that.
Yeah, it is actually, it's ultimately the same. I think that I was explaining this just before you arrived.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, is that para, it's a polysemic word. And with your Greek origin, you will be well aware of the meaning of polysemic. Those who are not aware of it, it is of having many meanings. But it is essentially further or beyond, and it's cognate with the English word far. Also, it gives us by a derivative of that word, we have para, meaning a shore, the far shore. So we have the expression. Let me just show you here the pradnya paramita, sometimes translated as the wisdom gone beyond. Pradnya param ita gone to the para, to the far shore.
And also gete para sam gete, that one too, right?
I'm sorry, say again, that came through a little bit blurred.
That gete para sam gete bodhiswaha, that mantra.
That is exactly where I was taking it from. Gate and yes, parangate, that one. Gate parangate parasangate om bodhiswaha. So sorry, Regine.
But my question is more in parampara.
Okay.
What does it mean in there? Like, because I know it's the knowledge that keeps getting passed or something. Or like...
That's right. The parampara is kind of being passed further and further on, being passed from one to the other. So it's like the traditional hanging on of knowledge. Let me just call up. All right. Here, I'm calling it up now. So parampara, I'm looking at Moni Williams now, an uninterrupted row or soon, any uninterrupted from one to the other, passing beyond from one to the other. And this derived noun parampara then just means the order or succession. And then by extension, it means a tradition that has been handed down in an unbroken line of a teacher to student, and then that student becomes a teacher. So it's the knowledge that has been passed down. But if I just call up para there, so the first meaning that Moni Williams gives is far in English, which is, I said, our English word far and para are etymologically the same word. So remote in space, opposite, further, beyond, on the other side. And then a whole series, previous, ancient, past, ancient in the past because now it's far distant, exceed, better or worse than. So it's got a whole range of meanings. But there's the one basic root meaning from which they all derive. I think I can say they all derived. Is it the not this one, but the next one, further beyond, one further beyond this, or the further one beyond it, next to it. So there's the idea of better, further, beyond. Also, para meaning another person. Or just others. And I think that's kind of reflected, for example, an otherness. I think that's reflected in paranoia, actually, via Greek. But for example, so the para meaning another person, we have, for example, if you can get into the mind of another, some psychic power that was spoken of, I know nothing about it personally, of being able to get inside the psyche and body and mind of another to see what that person was experiencing, is known as parakaya pravesha. Pravesha entering, kaya body, parakaya the body of another person.
In words like, for example, parapsychology, is that the same sort of?
I think it is, because I think actually it is exactly that, because you've got para, meaning next to or beyond, and you've got the paramedics, for example, who are not doctors, but they, as it was, assisting the medical process. And can you just say what parapsychology means here?
But parapsychology, I mean, it's sort of spooky psychology, isn't it? You know, it's sort of looking at the idea of ghosts and extrasensory perception and that sort of thing as psychological, but not quite.
Okay, right. Okay, that actually would fit well, because the next stage beyond, away from the familiar into a more distant stage of it, next to it, a bit beyond it, so it can have its all friendly everyday meaning as in a paramedic, and it can have a slightly spooky meaning, as Barry was just giving us with the parapsychology. So, hang on, where were we? There we are. So, were there any more queries arising out of this? And we can try a recitation of it. By the way, this janadipaha, so janadipaha here, it's in the plural. This is from jana, as we know, jana, just meaning people generally, and it's the same word that we have in the French les gens. It's in Latin gens, in Italian la gente, from the root jan, meaning to bear or to be born. So lords of people.
Is January from that as well?
Oddly,
and that Janus god in.
I think actually that's the god of the doorway, the Januaris, the Janus. I will check that. I tend to think not. It would be very nice if it were, but I tend to think not. I just I think it's from the god Janus, which is the gatekeeper. I think it's from a separate word, actually meaning a door or a gate, which is where you get the word janitor, for example. So the janitor originally meant a gatekeeper, and then by extension of meaning, it's the person who generally looks after the building. So I don't think it's the same root, but I will double check that and mention next time.
But it would be spelled the same way, the Jan.
Actually, come to think of it, because in Latin we have. Let me just call up the. We have the Vedic root jan, meaning to be born. And it's that gives rise to the Latin word gens. In Latin, it would have been pronounced gens, meaning people. So Jan makes the word jana, and the same word jana appears in Latin as gens. And in modern French, it has it's spelt exactly the same way, but it's les gens, meaning people generally. Though in fact, gens is a singular word in Latin, though in French it's come to be plural, les gens. In Italian, so Marco isn't with us at the moment, he could just check if I'm right or wrong on this. In Italian, you have it as a singular noun, la gente, singular, meaning people in general. So the jan in Vedic has become the gen in Latin. The Januarius is from probably, it would be a different root. So Januarius, the gatekeeper god, and of course the month January is the doorway, the opening month of the new year. So I think it's a separate root. Just now you're back with us, Marco. I was just checking. We were looking at the Jan and the Latin word gens, the French les gens. Am I right in saying that in Italian you have la gente, meaning people in general?
You're right. I think that January is coming from Janus Bifronte, the deity. Bifronte, double front, looking at the old year and at the new year. It's a bit like Ganesha.
That's right, yes, of course. Yeah, thank you for that, Mark. It's the god who's looking both ways. The old year is finishing, the new year is starting. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I don't think it's anything to do with the word, the Latin gens, gentis. It's a separate root, but I will double check on that and get back to you next time on it. Yeah, thanks for that. It's because the god is looking both ways. He's aware of the ending of the one and the starting of the next. Just as we are encouraged to do in the Satipatthana Sutta and various other suttas, be aware not only of the fading away of things and the rising of the new things, being aware of the constant phasing. Sorry, Genesis?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that is directly in point. Because Genesis in Greek, Genesis, that is from that same root. Because the word in modern English we pronounce it Genesis, is exactly that same word. It means birth. So the birth, and by extension the origin of something. So on that one, Paula, yes, that definitely is from that same root, and the word genus, genus, genea, I think you'd say in modern Greek, meaning a type or a sort of something. You have genus and genea as well, as in homogeneous, for example, as we pronounce it in modern. You say omogeneo. Would you say in Italian omogeneo? Okay, right. Means of the same birth, from the same point of origin. So yeah, all that is from that same. So gen in Greek, yen in modern Greek, gen in Latin becomes gen in Italian, les gens in French. It is all from that same root. I don't know if I've mentioned before in this august company, I'm continuing to fight my elderly pedant's battle to maintain the distinction between homogeneous and homogeneous. And I derive them back because there are two words in Greek, or in classical Greek, pronounced genos and genea. So if you derive modern English homogeneous would be from the same birth, from the same point of origin, whereas homogeneous is actually from genere, type, meaning of the same type. So homogeneous, of the same type, all the way through. I might be fighting a losing battle in trying to maintain the distinction. Maybe I will die on this barricade, still fighting that battle.
In Greece, there is quite a distinct difference that resonates with what you're saying, because homogenes are the people that are of the same birth. So they
right, yes, homogenes.
Yeah, the homogenes Greeks of Australia or whatever, like they are the same birth.
Okay, right.
And then homogeneous has a whole other meaning about kind of things that resemble each other, or kind of an assortment, but it's not of the same birth.
Paula, I'm absolutely delighted to hear you say that. So the distinction is now maintained with yourself as a native Greek speaker. And do you have a word in Greek?
Reflecting what's out there.
Right. So you've got a homogenes, which would be homogeneous from the same point of origin. Do you have a word in modern Greek that reflects how we pronounce it in English, homogeneous, meaning of the same type?
Yes, it would be a noun, homogenea. It would be used more as a noun, as in homogenea, meaning kind of similar genre.
Okay, gosh, that's wonderful, because homogenea, as you pronounced it in modern Greek, would be homogenea, is the noun of the same type.
Yeah.
And from
I mean, we are split. We're sort of. I mean, these are very important distinctions, but people use the word more loosely. But in Greece, there is that need to speak about homogenes, the Greek people of the same origin. So there is a sort of a usage. Do you see what I mean? Like there is a real reason to kind of keep that word alive.
Okay, Paula, I'm delighted to hear you say that, because this kind of gives me reinforcements in my elderly pedant's battle to maintain the distinction between these two words. Great.
Looking at the dictionary definition, there is as you quite rightly say, there's a clear difference between the two. I'd never really thought about it, to be quite honest. I'd assume that but they're actually quite different in the way that you describe.
Yeah. Maybe my voice crying in the wilderness now is being heard by more people.
But I think it all pivots on this difference between the two Yenos words that you mentioned. So one of them is Yenos and the other one is the Yene. You know what I mean? Like there is, I mean, it's based in fact. So there are these two different words that have these two different meanings.
Oh, exactly. So, I mean, if we just go back to Greek, Yenos and Yenea are two distinct words with two distinct meanings, which is one of the main weapons in my armory. But I'm so glad to hear all this resonating with you as a Greek speaker, Paola. So anyway, the fact is the jana, it's all from this the same root jan, meaning giving birth, and therefore a species, or all those who have been born, which is exactly what la gente and les gens means, just that those who have been born, people generally. So before we go on to the recitation, do we have any other queries or comments? So,
I am so sorry, James. I have to leave.
well, sorry to see you go, Gurcharan. So, see you. I'll send out a note about when we'll be starting the new year. But very good to see you back with us, Gurcharan.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye. Goodbye. So, Barry, do you feel inclined to give us a recitation of this verse?
Certainly. Na tvivaham jatu nasam na tvam ne me janadipaha na chaiva na bhavisyama sarve vayamata param.
Okay, right. That was pretty creditable. A couple of points I'll mention. As you know, we've got this anuswara, the final M, followed by the next word beginning with a consonant, is written in the script as a subdotted M. And remember that that sound takes on the quality of the following consonant. So you'd write it as a tueva hum with that anuswar, that dot. You see where I've highlighted that dot, a dot above the ha, and that's once written like this. So that's how it's written, but it will take on the quality of the following consonant here, j. So in fact, it would be pronounced as natweva han, ahanjatu, ahanjatu. And equally, we've got a m followed by a n here. So it'll simply be pronounced as if it were written as a n. Similarly here, natwanneme. So you wouldn't say natwanneme, natwanneme. And we do the same kind of thing pretty much automatically in English. I think last week I gave the example of how the labial is pronounced, of limp, lint, and link. We have the m, the n, and the n sound. We automatically pronounce correctly. It's just natural for the human vocal organs to do that. We see the same happening in Sanskrit. Say that just remember, just written with a subdotted m, but has the quality of the following consonant. So can you just pronounce this? Just pronounce this this pada again. Natwanneme janadipaha.
Natvanneme janadipaha.
Very good. That was perfect. Wonderful. Okay, thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
So, Madeline, round to you.
Yes. Na tvevaham jatu jatunna sam na tvam neme janadipaha na chaiva na bhavashyamaha sarve vayamataha param. I'm slow because I am reading from the Sanskrit. That's why that's why I'm slow and I'm making an effort.
Okay, well, actually,
to make the right spelling of the N. So that's why I'm slow.
in fact, it was interesting that you should have said that, Madeline, because I was about to say this has not come out with the same fluency that we normally expect from you. Now it was explained because you were being brave and reading it off the Devanagari. Excellent.
Yes.
Now you've done it once, and you've. Would you like to do it again?
Yes. Yes. Natvevaham jatunna natvam neme janadhipaha na chaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamataha param.
Okay, that was brilliant.
Oh,
Just,
yes.
but just
Oh,
one thing, remember, looking at it in the Devanagari here, and it's in the Roman here. Remember, I'm sure you know this anyway, but when this word is pronounced in isolation or at the end of
y-
a verse
yes,
or line, you have the shadow vowel ataha, ataha.
yes.
If it's directly followed by another word, we don't have the shadow vowel. So we don't say
Oh,
ataha param, just atah param, atah param.
yeah, yes.
So we don't have that shadow vowel. If you were, and I'm going to ask Marco about this in a moment because Marco is more expert on the Brahmanical pronunciations of it, that this this visarga, it's pronounced something a bit like an H, atah param. If when you hear Brahmins very carefully reciting the Vedas, for example, this final if it's before a p, it takes on a slight f sound, a tough, not a tah param, but a tough param, almost as if the h is going slightly towards being a f because of the following p. So the p, the labial p sound, attracts the h to being more labial, a tough param. Similarly, with the following k sound, it can be slightly guttural. If this was, for instance, atah gada, for example, this could, among the Brahmins chanting Vedic, would be something like atah gada, it would take on a slightly guttural sound. But you tend not to hear that fine distinction. Say if you're hearing just say the Bhagavad Gita being recited on YouTube, which it's all over the internet, you can get plenty of them. You tend not to get that distinction being made, but you will find it in very careful Vedic pronunciation. Marco, do you have anything to add to by way of comment or correction to what I've said?
No, it's okay. It's correct. Absolutely. There are some people who pronounce the Visarga Bhavishamaha. In this case, because it's the end of half of the sloka, and others that they omit the echo. So I don't know if there is a fixed rule.
Okay. So if I can just make sure I got your point. Just here, where it's let's just make a division here. Deliberately space these out. This is the two padas, the first pada and the second pada. And the question is, do you pronounce this visarga? It's immediately followed by another word, but do you pronounce it with the shadow vowel or not? And if I've correctly understood you, Margaret, some people, because it's at the division of the first pada and the second pada, some people will pronounce it as if it's the end of a line with the shadow vowel, and others will not use the shadow vowel because it's still part of the overall line. Is that?
Yes, exactly so. There are different versions. And na chaiva na bhavishama sarvevayam hatha param, and some bhavishama instead of
okay, I have it.
The echo. I don't know which is more correct. I heard both versions.
I mean, okay, so for our purposes, would we be safe in saying, do you think that it's purely a matter of personal preference and some respectable people, respectable scholars and chanters do it one way, other respectable scholars and chanters do it another way? And would we be right in saying it really doesn't matter? For our purposes, we can regard them both as being equally correct. Okay, thank you. But I noticed then very carefully when you were just quoting these two words, you didn't have the shadow vowel there because they're part of the same pada. So no, there's ataparam, right? Okay, so Marco, would you like to give us a recitation of this verse, please?
Natu evam jatu nazam natuam neme janadipa nachaiva na bhavishamaha sarvevayam ataparam.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Can you just pronounce this group again? Natuevaham.
Natuevaham.
Okay, right. Yeah, because I didn't hear it correctly for first time, but you'll have noticed how Marco did it very much in the same way as a standard, certainly within the Ganges Valley, that where we have this V sound immediately following a consonant, it comes out like more, very much like the English W, just a straight English or indeed Arabic W. But where it's at the beginning of a word or between vowels, it has more of this v sound, natueva, which is exactly how I heard Marco pronouncing it, and just is how it's done in modern Hindi as well. For example, in modern Hindi, the v is more like a v, not lower lip against upper teeth, but lips slightly together. So in English, v, if you feel it, lower lip against the upper teeth, v. I think they're the same, davvero, the same in Italian as well, and French, lower lip against upper teeth. Certainly in northern India, it's the lips almost touching, not quite a b, but a v. So it's very close to the, but the main difference is the lower lip is not against the teeth, but slightly touching the upper lip. They aren't closed to stop the air getting out like a b with a b. They're actually closed and blocking the air, then opening. This is a v, almost a b, but v. And in fact, you find that in this v often mutates into a b in modern Hindi as well. It was already happening in Pali. There are several words that you find a b appearing. I mean, also typically we've got r and v together in Sanskrit. For example, here we've got it right here, sarve. This big already in Pali, that is sabbe, so the r becomes a double b, sabbe satta sukhita huntu, may all beings be happy. And for example, how we've got the word that we pronounce in English is a vihara, meaning a monastery, is vihara, and in modern Hindi it becomes a Bihar, which is the name of Bihar state in India. It's the monastery, so monastery state, because there were many monasteries in it. So the Vihara, Bihar, is just different pronunciations of the same word. Okay, great. So Anne, would you feel inclined to give us a recitation?
Try. Natvevaham jatu nasham natvam eme janadipaha nachaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayamata param.
Have you been recently studying the chanted form, Anne?
The one that's online that I go to, I watch that one, but it seems easier to recite in the chanting way.
Ah, It is actually. These Sanskrit and same Pali shlokas, they just lend themselves to chanting. And that was very good. And if you do know how to chant them, it just seems to flow better.
Yes.
But is this a fairly recent endeavor on your part, Anne, to learn the chanted form?
I just never verbalized it
Ah.
out loud before. I follow it and I like it, and it lends itself to that. But I just never. I just sort of popped out today because other people were doing it. So.
Well, especially Marco, of course, who even teaches Sanskrit chanting. So when Marco chants it, listen to Marco as the expert. I wish I could chant better. I'm just not very good. That is my sadness and my loss. But do carry on with it, Anne, because honestly, it came out much better than your previous ones.
Sorry. I still get confused about tre and trois. You know, whether it's tve vaham or twe vaham.
Okay, it's na, tu, eva, aham. So
okay.
tu eva becomes tueva. It's just by regular sandhi. The ufal by another vowel become a v. So tueva. And eva aham becomes evaham. Wait, sorry, that's in Pali. Evaham. So natuevaham. Natuevaham. That's very good. Say it again.
Tuevaham.
Exactly so. That was perfect. In fact, I enjoyed listening to that, Anne. Would you like to chant it for us again?
Oh, I'll try. Natvevaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadipaha nachaiva navavishyama sarve vayam mata param.
Okay, that was very nice indeed. Just one slight thing. This came out as a short paha. Janadipaha. Janadipaha. Okay, wonderful. Well, and however you've been learning it, carry on, because I really can hear the difference now.
I will.
Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Right. Now, is there anyone whose faces we can't see, but who might be able to hear us? If you want to recite, that's fine. Otherwise, we can move on to the next verse in the few minutes we have left. Right. So we're looking out 2:13. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvananjara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. I mucked that up slightly. I'll do it again. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvananjara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. Just on the point that Marco mentioned about the pronunciation of the visarga at the end of the first pada and the beginning of the second pada, that it's optional, effectively, whether you have the shadow vowel or not. Note that where it comes to sandhi, it's not optional. So between the end of the first pada and the beginning of the second pada, you do apply sandhi. So for those purposes, it's treated as one running line of words. That is why you've got the word on its own, prapti, on its own, with sandhi, praptir dhiraha. This is the pada division here. So note now, shadow vowel for the visarga, optional in the middle of the line. Sandhi, not optional. It is mandatory to apply it. Was that by any chance a lift engineer who came to see you very?
Yes, it was. Yes, it's all sorted. Yes, thanks.
Okay, glad to hear it. Okay. Yes, before you joined us, Marco, Barry was explaining how he had to pull open the doors of a lift that got stuck. And I've only ever had to do that once in my entire life. And that happened to be by chance in the capital city of your own beloved country, Marco. I was in a hotel in Rome. Lift doors got stuck.
Blocked with the back, stuck.
Yeah, I was going up to my room, and I was on my way back from, where was I on my way back from? Somalia, of all places. And I was staying overnight in Rome and going up. The lift came to the correct floor, but the door just wouldn't open. And I pressed try it again. Nothing happened. How long is this going? So I tried, like Samson pushing the pillars apart, the pillars of the temple. I could pull the doors open, hoping that the hotel owners wouldn't catch me. So anyway, back to the Bhagavad Gita. So we have the interesting word dehina and deha. There are several words for a body, and one of them is deha. Now, there's an interesting distinction in words for the body. The two most, there's sharira, deha, and kaya are the three most common words. And they're identical in Pali. So in Pali, of course, it's sarira, not sharira. So we can say, yes, they all mean body. Okay, so far so good. But if you go into those words, they all indicate the body in a subtly different way. The word kaya comes from the root chi, meaning to heap up, to pile up, to accumulate. So the word kaya means the accumulation of things, as if you're thinking of the body as not just one unitary thing, but of a whole lot of component parts all put together into a kaya, assembled into a kaya. So it's body in its aspect of a whole lot of different parts all functioning together. Including
the root. How do you spell the root?
Okay, let me call up the root is chi, and it does occasionally happen when that you have the ch. An initial ch will sometimes become a k in the derivative nouns. So from chi, instead of chaya, which doesn't in fact exist, you instead have kaya. And in Buddhism, you have the Sambhoga Kaya, Nirmana Kaya, and so on. And you have a Nikaya, which literally is an embodiment, a Nikaya, things put together into one body. Like the Majjhima Nikaya, Digha Nikaya, means these groups of texts. And in that sense, Nikaya has the same meaning as when we talk about a corpus of literature from the Latin word corpus, meaning body, like a body of literature. But in Sanskrit and Pali, it expresses the Nikaya, putting together into one body. The other word is sharira, which has been derived from the root. Is it shri? Is it meaning to to lean on. No, no, it's a shri, isn't it? Meaning to lean on or to be supported by. So the sharira then has the meaning of a support, because the sharira, the physical body, is the support for the jiva, as well as the support for the soul. Incidentally, the shri, as we know, the sh in the Vedic root very often becomes a k or a k in Greek and Latin. So the shri in Greek, in Vedic, becomes the kli in Greek, as in klinos, meaning a bed. A clinic is a place with beds in it. It's the meaning of clinic. And in the Latin, inclinare, the clino, the leaning against. It's all from that same root. When the word came into English, oddly enough, it is the same root, but it lost the initial k. So our English word to lean, as in leaning against something, is from that same root as clinic, incline, and shri in Vedic. And the word deha, it's from something that has a shape, or that can be shaped. And it's just the physical body. Slightly annoyingly, I wish it didn't happen, that there are certain consonants in Vedic. So I'm hearing some kind of musical, not quite musical, but can you all hear it? Kind of humming sound behind.
It sounds like someone's alarm.
Yes, I can hear it.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's stopped now.
Now it's stopped. Yes.
Okay. So this di root. Okay, we're almost on 3, so I'll just deal with this, and we'll resume next time. This di. There are certain words that finish up in Latin with an F, as in dar, meaning firm, dharma. That turns up in Latin as firmus, as in terra firma, which we just pronounce as terra firma in English. Terra firma is from that same root. This di finishes up in Latin as fig, as in figura, a figura, a figure, a form. It's etymologically that same root. In English, believe it or not, it turns up as dough, as in when you mix flour with water, you're making bread. That's the dough. It's something that can be molded. So, oddly enough, deha, figura in Latin and of course modern Italian, and dough are all etymologically from that same root. So we can imagine our figures being made of dough. So the deha then is the body, and a dehin is one who possesses a body. Therefore, among the Hindus, the deha is the physical body. The dehin is therefore the soul in its capacity as inhabiting or possessing a body. That's the significance of, then here we've got dehin and dehe in the same, so dehinaha means of the soul. So I've translated as the embodied soul. You can think of dehin, the possessor of a deha. So dehin, so yatha asmin dehe, just as in this deha, in this body, dehinaha, of the embodied soul, of the body possessor, there is kaumaram, youth, Kaumaram is more boyhood. Yovanam, youth, the age of youth, and Jara, old age. And we see these words reflected. Jovanam, Gioventù in Italian, Juventus in Latin, you know, the age of youth, youthfulness, and Jara. Can any of you remember where the word Jara is reflected in English?
Geriatrics.
Geriatric, exactly so. So in this Jovanam and Jara, we've got Gioventù and Geriatrico. Okay, I've got to shoot off. I have a meeting out quite soon, so I haven't actually set a date. I'll notify you by email. It'll be Christmas Eve in a week's time. So this was the week and a day. No, a week. So I will send you all out an email about when we'll be starting, probably halfway through January. So I wish you all a blessed and happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy New
Happy
Year
Christmas
to
and
you.
New Year to you all.
James.
I'll send out the reminder email and look forward to seeing you all once Janus has turned his head from the old year into the new. Okay,
Well
lovely
done.
to see you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you all then.
thank
Thank
you,
you. Thank you,
James,
Paula. Goodbye.
everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Nadoli Klauen. Nadoli Klauen, James.
Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao. Bye. Bye.